Hello and welcome to Full Tank Truck Talk. This is the first episode of the 2026 season. I'm your host, Phil Eastman, and I host the Full Tank with Phil podcast, where each and every week, each and every race, we break down the Cup Series action and try to give out the best bets and strategies from a Cup Series perspective. But here on this YouTube channel, we're trying to take a look at the trucks because they deserve some attention. And this season is definitely gearing up to be one to remember. Last season, well, it was all Corey Heim. I got my Corey Heim championship shirt because he won us some money last year, obviously. But this year, it's time to look forward. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to talk about this season and especially, the way that they're kicking things off with Daytona. This truck race on Friday night is going to be one to remember. Like, I really believe that. I have never been this excited for a truck race in a long time. And we'll get into all the reasons why. But on this episode, on this video, what you can expect, we're going to usually recap the race previously if we can. But we don't have one. So this episode, take a quick detour into the futures market and talk about one that I really like in particular. And then we'll start breaking down some outrights, talk about Daytona in general and how to play it. It's kind of a similar thing that I talk about with the Cup Series podcast, the strategy for Daytona, just a little bit more conservative, but we'll throw some outright conversations out there. Got some placement picks that I think are worth it. And then, a little bit more general conversation, some long shot talk. And then matchups are scarce. I got one that I got in, and so we'll call that one out. But for what we have in this moment, as I'm recording, not too much. So we'll keep our ear to the ground there before the race starts on Friday night. And then in the finish line segment, we've got something that I'm really pumped about. We're going to be doing a custom one and done challenge, I guess you could say, against our buddies Cody and Rod from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. So I'll talk about that at the end, but I'm pumped about that. So we'll get to it here with the first thing that I want to mention. And I have the race recap part highlighted. I get it, but we're going to use the Daytona episode because it's the kickoff the season just to talk about one futures bet that I like. All right. Because there's a lot of over-unders on some win totals, but none that are awesome. There's one, though, that stands out above all else, and that is going to be, let me see if I could pull it up here, Lane Riggs over 3.5 wins, minus 130, on Caesars. This is giving me vibes of last year when Corey Heim's number was 4.5 and it was juiced down to minus 150. And we're like, no, we're taking this. And then he goes off and just dominates. I really believe that Lane Riggs, out of anyone in a season where it's anybody's race, anybody's game, I really think that Lane Riggs could rip off a really solid season. And 4 wins for this guy. He's good on all different track types. Doesn't matter if we're going to super speedways. He's listed as the favorite at Daytona on some books. So super speedways, 1.5 miles, short tracks we know, and even road courses. He is a very versatile driver. And I think, the fact that he's ending last year with momentum, coming into this year is a perfect situation for him. Not much changing with that team. His teammates still the same. His team's still the same. So I really like what Lane Riggs is going to be able to bring to the table in 2026. So hopefully get those in before. I don't know if they take those down right after Daytona. Maybe they'll leave them up for a couple weeks. But Lane Riggs over 3.5 is where I wanted to kick things off just because I hadn't had a chance to get a season preview episode out there for the trucks. So here we go with that. But why are we so excited for this race coming up? What is it about it that has everyone kind of in a tizzy here? Well, I'll tell you, it's the entry list. The entry list for this race, it's awesome. We're going to go through. I'm going to share my screen in a second to kind of show you the list of the guys here. But to me, they lifted some restrictions to allow some of the Cup guys come down more races this year. And to me, the fact that we're seeing this many drivers from outside the series is telling you like that's a pretty healthy series. Like trucks is a thing that people want to watch, and it's a way for the Cup drivers to kind of hone their skills at the beginning of the week. And it's also an opportunity for the regulars to take them on and sharpen their skills as they progress towards their championship. So it's the best combination of, so many different worlds coming together, older guys, younger guys, veterans of the sport, all together jumbled up into one big mix. And when you throw them onto a track like Daytona, my goodness, it doesn't get any better. So let's talk about the entry list because it is stacked. Absolutely stacked entry list. I don't know. I think I might be more excited for Daytona. I texted Cody, the aforementioned NASCAR gambling podcast co-host, and said, like, I might be sacrilegious, but I think I'm more excited for Friday night, and the 500 is just the dessert for the weekend. So see if I could pull this up here. We're going to share the entry list and go with it. So we'll just start at the top. Taylor Gray driving the one truck. I mean, by itself, in a silo, it's like, wow, Taylor Gray's coming back down to race for Tricon again. Pretty cool. He's driving the one truck. He's not a bad driver. You got Cletus McFarland in there driving the Black Rifle Coffee Company truck for Nice. That I have not seen yet. I can't wait, but that's going to be a sick paint scheme, I'm sure, for a fun driver. Michael McDowell driving for Spire in the 7 truck. Love that. Then you've got the silly season results, right? You've got the Ram trucks with Daniel Dye coming back down, Butterbean Queen coming back down, Caden Honeycutt into the 11. We love this stuff. Minnie Tyrell. Anybody watch the Ram truck show? He was your winner to drive the 14 truck the whole season. I'm pretty sure they wanted Minnie to win from episode 1, but hey, he won and he's in it. And then we have Justin Haley again, another Ram driver. Tony Stewart. I mean, folks were probably waiting for me to get to that name, but Tony Stewart is coming down. He's the biggest name of the bunch, just enormous. Like, and this is what I'm kind of saying is like, they get a name like that to drive this truck where this 25 truck each week is supposed to be a like free agent driver truck, big name, maybe a retired guy like this truck. And that is just going to draw so much good attention to this series every week. It's going to be fun to see like, oh, who's driving the 25 this week? How do they do? So Tony Stewart driving at Daytona. We'll talk about him in just a couple minutes. Tony Bringer driving for Rackley War now. She left Tricom. She's driving the 27 truck. So there's a little silly season situation. Travis Pastrana driving for Nice in the 42 truck. We got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. driving the 45 truck. John Hunter Nemechek driving the extra Stuart Friesen truck, the truck that's usually for Jessica on like the road courses or dirt tracks when they used to run them. Well, now John Hunter's running the 62 for Helmar Friesen Racing. We've got Corey LaJoy driving the 75. It's not Parker Kligerman. It's Corey LaJoy in the dual race that just happened right before I recorded. He just got absolutely screwed. So you got to imagine that Corey LaJoy is going to be just on a mission in this truck race. And then you got Carson Hocevar driving the 77 Spire truck. So the Spire truck team just seems to have like unlimited funds, and they are throwing everything at it here for Daytona. And then you got, again, more silly season stuff. Christian Eck is back in here. So it is just going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be awesome to see how these guys can handle it. And, there's going to be multiple trucks that don't make this race, which is good sign for a healthy series. And I wish they could all run. I really do. That would be really fun to watch so many of the trucks on there at one time. But hey, we'll take what we can get. It's going to be fun no matter what. Now we move into just some bets that I have made already. The situation that we're in now is they had practice on late Thursday afternoon, and the books are really slow to get back up. I tried waiting to record this until we saw like a lot more. So on Friday morning, I'm sure we're going to see some more practice. or qualifying is at 3. So get any of your bets in, I would imagine, before 3, unless you want to run the risk of not getting anything in if the books don't come back up. But Daytona, say this for the Cup Series pod on Full Tank with Phil, you want to definitely pace yourself. You don't want to go overboard. It's really difficult for me not to go overboard, but you want to look at more of like the long shot type bets most of the time. But for me, I'm trying to do that. And if it's more of the, shorter, like the favorite for the trucks, like 12-1, that's pretty long, like normally. So it's kind of a, twisting up your mind a little bit, got me in a pretzel. So you just want to bet less units, and keep it casual, making sure you have things above board. So I've got some outright picks. This is, especially for the truck series, kind of like throwing a dart at a dartboard, it feels like, but I've got some data to pull from. I am very data driven. It's tough for me to come on here and make a case for a bet when I don't have anything for a guy. So I'll make that case here. We'll try to get to this and see what we can come up with. The pulling up the outrights right now, because you want to shop around. The one book that's up here on a Thursday night with multiple markets is Bet365, if you have access to that. Now, they've got some different outright lines than we've seen, and they are a little longer on certain drivers. So you definitely want to shop around, because the first driver that I want to talk about is one Christian Eckes. He is available at 16-1 on Bet365. I like Christian Eckes as a championship future pick. I think that the fact that he, went up to Xfinity, he was right there with Corey Heim in 2024. It was Eckes versus Heim every single week, those two. And then leaving, that opened the door for Heim to do what he did. He goes up to Xfinity, and colleague, folds, they come back down, they do their business decision here with Ram, and he's a free agent. What does he do? He goes back to McAnally. He's riding the 91 truck. And I just really feel like Christian Eckes has an opportunity to soar this season. And it starts at a track like this at Daytona. His last 3 finishes at Daytona were 3rd, 3rd, and 10th. So I love him being back in the sport. In 2024 was his last time riding around here. He finished 10th at Daytona, and then later that season, he finished 6th at Talladega. So the point that I'm trying to make is he can drive on super speedways. He can find his way through the craziness, because if you think the Cup Series have big ones, the trucks can get absolutely squirrely and completely out of control. So it's very difficult, and it's quite the skill set to be able to avoid all that stuff in the trucks on a consistent level. I mean, 3, 10, and then an average finish of 8 on 2 super speedway tracks in 2024 for Christian Eckes. I love this. I also love the 16-1. He's 12-1 on Caesars before Caesars went offline. So I'm quite interested here in this driver coming back down, kicking the door in, making the statement saying like, yo, I'm back, boys. I'm back. Christian Eckes is here. I don't care if it's not the 19, it's the 91. Flip it, get used to it. Here I am. And we're cashing Full Tank Phil for 16-1 here as an outright pick. I love it. Now, for not going with Christian Eckes, there's another driver that is coming down, and he is a regular in the Cup Series. It's John Hunter Nemechek. Now, he's driving that 62 truck. Typically, I would be a little skeptical of that 62 because it's just not that quality. I mean, the 52s really struggle from time to time. But because this is Daytona, I'm giving it, an extra push here. And Caesars, I got this before they went offline at 16-1. Looking at, let's see, Bet365, they still have him at 16-1. So that's still pretty good line. I thought I saw Caesars come up with their outrights. Yes, right now Caesars, as I'm talking, they have him at 12-1. So, for whatever reason, I don't know why they would change it up after practice, because practice doesn't mean anything at a super speedway, but you can still get that same number elsewhere as some of these other books pop back up. Why do we like John Hunter? even though he's driving the 62 truck, well, he's got 2 super speedway truck starts at Daytona in the last few years. He's got a 3rd place at Daytona to his name. He has excuse me, I'm mixing these up here. Sorry. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I just gave away who we're going to go with in a second. My notes here: John Hunter has 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. They were 4th and 7th in 5 starts. His last truck start was in 2022. But the thing about John Hunter is he was a king down in the trucks. He went up to the Cup a little too soon, came back down. And before he went up to Cup, he was a king at Kyle Busch Motorsports. Went up, came back down, ripped and run. Like, he was an absolute beast. And now he's up in the Cup Series, and I like him this week in the Cup Series. I think he's a valid top 10 play, an absolute long shot, a very consistent driver with a small sample size of like 4 races or so. But in the Cup Series, he is a factor. So now you're sending him back down to a truck, the discipline that he is very good at, like riding a bike for this dude. He's proven that. And you're sending him into a super speedway where he can kind of do his own thing, decide what he wants to do, hang back, ride up. It's going to be fun to watch these guys go at it. And John Hunter, I don't know who he's going to be kind of clinging on to as a Toyota, but hopefully he's able to make the right decisions and be there in the end, because if he is towards the end of that race, still in there with 10 laps to go, I would imagine John Hunter is going to be able to make moves that these other guys can't. So John Hunter, 16-1. I really like that in the 62 truck. Now we get ahead to the guy I just started ripping stats off for a second ago. And this guy, he's flying below the radar, guys. He's flying below the radar. And that is Gio Ruggiero. Got him at 22-1. I think now he's down to 18. I'm going to see what Bet365 has him at. But this is a driver. Yeah, they haven't. Bet365 has him down to 16-1. So maybe they're starting to pay attention, but haven't heard his name. I listened to NASCAR radio today, and they do the thing where, they're giving out their picks for the weekend. It was Daniel Trotta and Larry Mack and the producer Margot, and they're giving their picks for the trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. And they get points. And it's their fantasy NASCAR game that they do. Not a single person mentioned Gio Ruggiero. How is that possible? How is that possible that no one's mentioning him? It's just because he's so young driving this truck. He is legit. 2 super speedway starts last year, finished 3rd at Daytona. I can remember vividly, right behind me, watching the TV, saying to myself, this rookie's going to win this race. Like, he's going to lock himself into the playoffs right now. This is crazy. Ends up finishing 3rd, but he led laps. He was a factor. And then what did he do at Talladega later in the year? He wins Talladega. Unreal to have these odds set the way. We only have two races to show for it, and the guy has a 1st and a 3rd. Like, what are we doing here? Why are the books kind of disrespecting him? He's flying below the radar. It's an opportunity for you to take him outright, but maybe if you don't like the outright play, look for a top 5. If they do end up bringing up some head-to-heads or some group bets or whatever, keep him in mind. Daily fantasy, whatever you can do. Gio Ruggiero is a budding super speedway talent, and it would be great to see him go 3 for 3 with solid finishes on these style racetracks. So keep him in mind, man. He's not getting a lot of love right now. I'm trying to give him some. The last conversation I want to have is more so just like the Ram trucks. What are we going to expect? I'm a little skeptical of throwing something in on any of these guys. I'm looking at Butterbean Queen. Not a ton of super speedway experience, but in ARCA last year, 2025 ARCA race kicked off the season with a Daytona victory. So, like, he could definitely get around. It's just, what does Ram bring to the table? I think a lot of folks are waiting and they're thinking like, well, Ram not going to be able to work with a lot of folks. I think once push comes to shove, it's just like getting in line. The only time you really need the teamwork element to it is getting off and on pit road under green flag conditions. And in the truck series, how often does that really happen? Because there's so many wrecks, and along with the stage breaks, it just feels like maybe that might be a little overblown, but we also don't know what kind of speed they have. And so we want to see. They got Justin Haley. You can get Rams 7-1 just as a manufacturer pick if you think one of them could win the race. But I was looking at Tony Stewart just for the fan part of me, just to have a little something on him. He was also 16-1. Seems like the books really don't know what to do. Got a lot of 12-1s, a lot of 16-1s out there. But Tony Stewart, saw him come down. I was like, great for the sport, not interested. All right. Then, I got to say, like, hats off. Smoke. I was unfamiliar with your game, sir. 4 of his 43 Cup wins were at Daytona, and then 7 of his 11 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series victories were at Daytona, and there was another one at Talladega. So 8 for 11 in the O'Reilly Series Super Speedway wins for Smoke. So this dude, he hasn't run in trucks a lot. I think he has 6 career races in the trucks, but clearly a super speedway savant. So if anybody can kind of put it together and figure it out, it'll be him. It would definitely not benefit us to doubt Tony Stewart. That's for sure. So I threw a little beer money on him just for fun, but very anxious to see how these guys run just speed wise and then work together with the pack with only 5 of them in there together. So Butterbean, Daniel Dye, Justin Haley, I didn't even mention those two. Some really long numbers on those guys. So Daniel Dye, he's capable enough. I think he's got like a 10th place finish in there. Justin Haley, solid. So could be worth, a sprinkle, but it's just too hard to tell. Might have to wait till Talladega to get back to that well. All right, so let's move on to a couple placement picks that I have out there now. And we're going to start with Chandler Smith. Okay, Chandler Smith just missed out on the big show. He did not make the 500, but I like him top Ford. Like I said, we want to keep more of like longer shot picks. So plus 225 on Caesars was Chandler Smith for the top Ford driver. And honestly, this is a situation where it's like smaller group, right? I don't want to take him for a top 5 just because there's just so much going on. And if you look back, the Fords, he lost last year this bet to Ty Majeski. So Chandler Smith finished 6th in the Daytona race last year. Majeski finished 3rd. So he just missed out on him. The year before that, the top Ford was 7th. I guess what I'm kind of thinking of is like last couple of years, you haven't really had to been great to win top Ford. And I think Chandler Smith is solid enough. Like I said, he finished 6th. He also started 6th. So he ran where he finished. After you go back further, Zane Smith was the one winning races before that. He won back-to-back races. And what kind of vehicle is Chandler Smith in? He's in that front row truck. So, yeah, I think it's very possible. He's got the right moves. He's got the right ability. He's got the right last name, right? Smith, driving the 38 truck. He's got everything that he needs as far as the aesthetics go, but he also has the skills. He's 2 for 3, finishing inside the top 10 on Daytona. So yeah, keep it in the top 10. And I think you have a very good chance of cashing a top Ford because your competitors are your teammate Lane Riggs, who is very, very inconsistent on super speedways. He will be running up there. He's kind of like a Joey Logano-esque type. He will be running up there with the ability to lead laps, dictate the race, but Lane Riggs scares me to be able to finish. Obviously, we threw the win total bet on him, so great. If he hits, good for us, but he scares me with the ability to actually finish. So I'm going with Chandler because he's, proven, like I said, 2 for 3, top 10s, finished 6th last year. I like it. So Chandler Smith, the decent clip there, and you got to beat the Thor Sport boys as well. It's really just Ty Majeski in my mind driving the 88 truck now for Matt Crafton, taking over that iconic ride. But yeah, it'll be a battle. But like I said, I don't think you need to win the race or even finish top 5 to win this bet. So that's why I like it. We'll go now to one of my favorite truck drivers of all time, plus 220. This is on Bet365. This is out now. So if you like this, you can tail this on Bet365. It's Grant Enfinger. for a top 5 finish. Grant, he is just, I hope he never retires. I honestly don't. When you see Crafton go, you're like, oh no, other guys like Enfinger, Friesen, I don't want to see them go. I hate that. And Enfinger, honestly, yeah, maybe this is a little betting with my heart, but then you put some pen to paper here and you realize, no, he's got the stats to back it up. 11 starts at Daytona. So he's got the experience. He won in 2020. He's got 4 top 5 finishes and 5 top 10s, 11.2 average finish in 11 starts. That's amazing. That's a great number for a super speedway average finish. 11.2. Hell yeah. That is so damn good. Last 2 years on super speedways, the 4 tracks. So 2 starts at Daytona, 2 starts at Dega. He's got 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 3 top 20s. Finished 5th at Daytona last year. So a very capable super speedway driver, someone that, you know, you have to be able to trust. And what a great way to start the year for that team. If he were to go out and put it inside the top 5, be a great start for them, be some money for us, win-win, win-win, and we move on. So the other, you know, long shot top 5s, I mean, this is what makes Daytona fun. There's a ton of drivers that are further down the list that, like, if you wanted just to have fun and not bet too much money on, but just throw things in there, like a, let's see, like a Butterbean Queen top 5, you know, like a, I would say Jake Garcia, but he consistently lets me down on these big tracks. But how about a Travis Pastrana, right? Driving for Nice. Travis Pastrana finishing top 5. That would be like headline news the next day. How about 14-1? You know what I mean? Like, that's a nice little long shot. So keep guys like that in mind and have a little fun, because that's really what you can do on these truck races, especially when we get all these guys coming in, right? Guys that are further down this list, like a Butterbean, like a Daniel Dye, 11-1, everybody's discrediting them because we've got so many of these cup guys, these bigger name guys coming down. I don't mind those super long shots at all. If you want to throw just a little tiny bit of money on them. All right. So the last thing we'll hit here is just a quick hitter, and it's going to be matchups. Now, matchups are usually my bread and butter. All right. I love matchups, but we're not getting a lot from these books right now. And didn't see too many before practice started either that really jumped off the page to me. I keep refreshing as we go here, just in case we could do some live talk about it. But I got one that I got in before, so I'm going to assume that it's going to come back up, and that's going to be on Caesars. And it is Carson Hocevar over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This was -115 on Caesars. And I like this bet for 2 reasons. Okay. The first is Hocevar. I was kind of discrediting Hocevar in the Cup Series race, you know, on the podcast we did this week for him. And there was reasons for that. If you want to go and listen to that, that's fine. But in the Truck Series, I think completely different ballpark. This is a different game. He has proven when he comes down, he can drive this thing. Kind of like what we said about John Hunter. He hops in this truck, he makes it go fast. And I really think that this is a opportunity for him to do that. And we saw he signed on. He's going to be racing a lot of truck races this year because they lifted that restriction to like 5 races each. Guys like Hocevar, like these younger guys, are able to run more races. I think he said 13 races. That would be crazy. But I digress. Daytona starts. He's got 3 Daytona starts. He's got finishes of 5th, 9th, and 12th. All right. 5th, 9th, and 12th. Those are head-to-head winning finishing positions. That's what I see. You know, I don't need him to win the damn thing. I just need him to finish somewhere between 5th and 12th. And I think he cashes a head-to-head. Head-to-heads, super speedways, obviously very volatile, but I'll take it. He finished 11th at Talladega the last time out. He was there in 2023. And it just, you know, really feels like this is a great chance for him to have a little fun, right? Start the weekend off in a right manner, getting in there in that 77 truck. And then you look at who he's going up against here is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., which big name, right? Fanfare in a niche truck, 45, I believe. I'll pull that entry list back up. Yeah, he's driving the 45 niche truck, but he's never run a truck before. And that scares me a little bit, especially when you're going to a place like Daytona where, I mean, like these guys are going to be all over the place. He could be seeing demons out there. So I don't want to like make it seem like, oh, because he's never ran trucks before, he's screwed. He's obviously a very talented super speedway driver. He'll probably catch on pretty quickly. But when you got him mashed up against a proven truck winner, a dude who was so good in his time in that 42 truck, I don't think this is much of a fair fight. I think Hocevar is going to kind of take him pretty easily here. So we'll see. But that's the only head-to-head that I was able to play. And if I do play anything else, I'll put it out there on X. You can follow me at Full Tank Phil on X, Instagram, where you can get my Cup Series race day card as well. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown here of all of the bets that I've placed so far. And we'll keep our eyes peeled, see if anything else jumps out to us. So with that, we'll wrap things up with our finish line segment. And this is the part of the show where we usually just kind of take it and any other random thoughts, any other random bets I'm kind of leaning towards. But I think we might need to change it on the side there from finish line to one and done, because reached out, talked with Cody and Rob from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. And if you have not subscribed to that show, that's the first thing you got to do. All right. Subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Rod and Cody are awesome at what they do. These guys are so vigilant every week, even through the off season. Multiple shows. They put a show out for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck every week, and it's all great content. So love those guys. Love listening to their opinions. You can get done with this, throw their episode right on. I can't wait to listen to it myself and see what they're on. Great content, especially for trucks where there's not that much out there to absorb. So reached out with those guys. We used to, a couple years ago, when I had Derek Yoder on the show, we used to do the driver group game, fantasy game. And at the end of every episode, we would put our lineup together. And that went away for trucks. We thought it was back. We were pumped. And turns out it wasn't back. So I was kind of like, what if we just did like our own one and done? So what we're going to do, I said to Cody, I might have bitten off a little more than I can chew, but we'll see. We're going to keep track. I'm going to pull it up on my computer. I have a spreadsheet. Maybe at some point I'll get like a nice visual for it. But each week we pick one driver in the Truck Series, and so will they. So you listen to their show to see who they picked that week. And we'll just keep track. We'll go off NASCAR points. I'll keep it tallied in our Excel spreadsheet here, and we'll see who wins at the end of the year. So might need to figure out some stakes, but for now, it's just pumped to be doing it. So how do you break down a one and done for the trucks? There's so many random guys in this race. Who makes sense? Well, I definitely don't want to take a full-time truck driver. I want to save all of those guys because you got to come up with 23 drivers. You can only use them once. That's going to be very difficult. So I don't want to use my, typical, Christian Eckes or any of these guys really that I called out, Enfinger, Ruggiero. But there is one driver that I am fine using and somebody that I believe in, and I made a case for earlier. And the one and done driver that I'm choosing for this week is a Cup driver jumping down, driving the 62. It's John Hunter Nemechek. That's who I'm choosing for my one and done. I fully believe in him. I might be just way too invested in John Hunter this week heading into Daytona because I got some stuff on him in the Cup Series as well. But I really think that he's going to show off his skills coming back down into the truck skill set and doing well on a super speedway he's good at. So burn him. I don't know if he'll ever be back in a truck this year, so I don't have to worry about that, as opposed to a guy like Hocevar, who I know I'll be able to reuse. But hey, let me know. Hit me up on X. blow me up if I made the wrong choice here. If there's another guy that made more sense, tell me why I'm wrong. And it'll be a fun conversation. And, if I'm wrong, you let me know. Maybe I can use that driver later on. I'll be on my radar. But John Hunter Nemechek is the Full Tank Truck Talk pick for our one and done pool against Rod and Cody from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. So that's going to do it for our first show of the season. I hope everyone got a kick out of this and is excited for this truck race as much as I am, because I think it's going to be very fun Friday night here to kick off Daytona. All right, everyone. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time for Atlanta.